talked about last time briefly about the meeting that will happen on the full moon in Scorpio, on the WESAC meeting in Shambhala, with also, basically it's going to be like the Galactic Federation, Ascended Masters. I'm sure other galactic beings, and I'm sure people that are involved in this ascension, I'm sure our higher selves are going to be there too. Because if my higher self's there, you know what I'm putting on the projector screen? Those crabs being boiled in the air fryer, okay? And being like, we need to do something about this yesterday, okay? That's my one video that I would totally show, like, can you imagine, like, all the Ascended Masters and, like, showing them this, like, video with, like, a pointer and being like, and they'd all be like, the fuck is this? But I'd be like, we need to pull the trigger on something. Like, we gotta go, we gotta do this. And I'm sure after that, like, I feel we're reaching this apex when, with solar weather, I think I feel it's heavily mirroring leading up to this event, because I do feel whatever decision that they make on the 12th as the overseers of Earth and our higher selves, like I said, I really feel a lot of people are going to be there, and it's not just...
I'm be there.
Right? We all got tickets. Things will start to really shift after that, and then we'll have Saturn moving into Aries, and then June's always a big month with the solstice. I feel it's an interesting date that was chosen. Obviously, well, I mean, I feel it always coincides with the full moon in Scorpio, but just this time it feels a little more potent with, like, Uranus at the late degrees of Taurus.
Opposing the moon.
Which is, you know, heavy on 3D materialism, the lower of Taurus kind of thing. You know, financial system, outdated systems.
Saturn will be at the critical degree. It'll be at 29 degrees.
Pisces, which is also, like, you know, the end of this spiritual delusional chapter, which does tie into the article I want to share. So I do feel like we will start to see, like, we're building to that kind of apex.
I do, and it does feel like probably the best time for that meeting.
I think it's a great time.
And that's interestingly where I feel like a lot of people kept picking up that, like, that week was going to be really big.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying
I kept getting May 16th. Like, in my, like, brain and my vision, like, just kept getting that date, and that's 4 days after the WESAC full moon thing, so I don't know what's going on.
I've seen a lot of astrologers, or just people in general, say, like, even on, like, Twitter or X or whatever, like, a lot of people are like, I just feel like next week is a big week, and whether they're spiritual or not, people are feeling it, and obviously, again, they time this really good with the meeting. I just feel like it'll be really interesting. In the veil, I feel, you know, a lot of people, the veil is getting thin, that's why the solar activity and all of that, and I feel we will very much, like, that day on the 12th, like, be able to feel what's going on. Like, it's so thin that we're all gonna feel like, you know, like, we're there, and, like, things are happening multidimensionally. It'd be like because, like, the Galactics, they don't pick Earth dates. But the fact that they picked it, you know, they have to, with this, like, pick an Earth date, I just feel it's very
so that
significant.
We can actually know.
Like, tap in, you know? So... all of this kind of ties into an article that I found about Neptune going into Aries. She wrote this in November, but obviously, like, she had just reposted it recently, and everything she talked about, it's already starting to shift. I resonate deeply, so I really feel like this ties into, like, just what we're experiencing now. And it coincides with Neptune in Aries, Pluto in Aquarius, Saturn going into Aries. So it's called Neptune into the Fire of Aries, Illusions, Glamour, Greed, and Lust, The Great Reckoning. We are entering an era where the flames of truth will burn through the mantles of illusion, lust, and greed that have long held sway. This transformative shift, guided by the currents of fire and air, marks the end of escapism and material excess, ushering in an age of clarity, innovation, and collective awakening. The age of Pisces has been marked by dualities, faith and deception, compassion and delusion, mysticism and materialism. Central to this age is Neptune, for the planetary ruler of Pisces, which governs dreams, illusions, spirituality, and escapism. For centuries, Neptune's influence has been both an inspiration and a veil, encouraging humanity to dream of utopia while simultaneously trapping it in illusions of grandeur, glamour, and self-serving fantasies. But as Neptune prepares to leave Pisces, it already did, again, she wrote this in the past, so Neptune in Aries, a cosmic reckoning is at hand. This transition calls for accountability, a dismantling of false idols and glittering facades that have defined this era, and a sobering confrontation with the consequences of unchecked greed, lust, and apathy. Neptune in Pisces encouraged humanity to chase dreams, but many of those dreams have been hollow. The allure of celebrity, the pursuit of fame, and the obsession with wealth have become dominant themes in this age. At its core, the age of Pisces has been one of seduction, not just in the romantic sense, but as a tool of control and manipulation. Lust and desire, in all their forms, have been weaponized by the corrupt to maintain power. These energies distract